So the second type of work permit you can get is the open work permit, and this kind of work permit allows you to work for any employer in Canada in any location and at. Guys, you're welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining my channel yet again. If you are new, you're beautifully welcome. Kindly consider subscribing to this channel down below, and be sure to turn the post notification bell on as well, so that you can get notifications each time I post a new video. And if you're not new, thank you so much again for joining my channel. Please don't forget to always like, comment and share with your friends and family. In today's video, so we'll be talking about work in Canada. So how do you get a work permit? Do you need a work permit? What kind of work permits would you be able to get? Your application process, do you need to apply on paper or online, and what kind, the entire details you would be needing about applying for work permits in Canada. So work permit is like a written authorization that allows non-Canadian citizens or permanent residents to work in Canada. Generally, you'll be needing a work permit if you intend to work in Canada and you have a foreign passport. How do you find out if you need a work permit to work in Canada? If you plan to stay in Canada or work in Canada for less than 6 months, then you would not be needing a work permit. All you need is a temporary residence visa. But if you plan to work in Canada for more than 6 months, then you'll be needing a work permit. So what are the type of work permits you can get? There are two major types of work permits you can get. The first one is the employer specific work permit. This kind of work permit allows you to work for a specific employer within a specific location and for a specific duration. Say for instance, you got a job in Manitoba, Canada for Google, and it's for a period of 1 year. Your contract is for 1 year. So that work permit, if you get an employer specific work permit, you would need to work in Manitoba for Google for the period of 1 year. If your work permit expires, you need to apply to either extend the work permit, or you can apply for another open work permit, which is the second type of work permit we'll be talking about here. So to get the employer specific work permit, the employer must fulfill some certain conditions set up by ILCC. Secondly, the employer must have given you a valid job offer. And lastly, you must have gotten a labor market impact assessment, the LMIA. Now, just because the work permit you receive is employer specific, it makes it closed, and you are working for that specific employer, doesn't mean they should abuse you or treat you any way they want. There is a law that guides employees in Canada. If you have an employer specific work permit and you are being abused, or you are at the risk of being abused, you have the option of applying for the open work permit so that you can work for other kind of employers. So now the second work permit you have is the open work permit, which allows you to work for any employer in Canada at any location and for any kind of job field. So although with the open work permit you're allowed to work for any employer, but still there are still some employers that are in the list of ineligible employers. Maybe the ones that have broken a rule in the past, or maybe the ones that have been found not to meet up some certain criteria, and some employers that are also offering like sexual or striptease or those kind of activities. You are not allowed to work for those kind of people. So just like every other application, there are some eligibility requirements that you have to meet for you to be able to apply for work permits. The first thing is that you have to show to the immigration officer or to the visa officer that you will be leaving Canada at the end of your work permit. So just a quick note, if you are not going to be leaving Canada at the end of your work permit, you would have to apply for another kind of visa or residency, or to extend your work permit. The second thing is you have to show that you have enough money to support yourself and your family when you arrive in Canada. The next thing is that you must have no criminal record. You must show this by providing a police clearance certificate from your country or the countries you have visited in the past, or you have stayed for more than 6 months precisely. You must not be a danger to the country of Canada. You must provide medical examination results to show that you are in good health. You must not plan to work for an employer that is in the list of the ineligible employers in Canada, that on regular basis offers erotic or sexual tease or striptease kind of jobs. And lastly, you must provide all the documents that is required of you to prove before you can enter Canada. It's recommended that you apply online. However, you can also apply for your work permit in paper at the visa office in your country. So if you are going to apply online, obviously you have to create a Government of Canada account on the website canada.ca. You have to go to the page for the work permit and find out the documents that you'll be required for your country, because all the documentation checklist varies from country to country. I'll be showing you how to check the document checklist that applies to your own country. So this is the page on how to apply for work permit. I'll leave the link in the description box. So from this page, you scroll down to the bottom of the page where you see where are you applying from. If you're applying from inside of Canada, outside of Canada, or at the port of entry, which is when you arrive in Canada, and you can only apply at the port of entry if you have a passport to even come into Canada. Say for instance you have a Jamaican passport or a passport from a country that allows you to come into Canada without a visa. So now you're applying from outside Canada, and get the application to work. How are you applying? As you can see, online is recommended than on paper. What country are you applying from? Say Ghana. So if you're applying from Ghana, you see the instruction. You need to read the instructions. You need to visit the visa office requirement in Ghana. Let's open this one. Let's see what the visa office requires of us. So if you're applying from Ghana, the visa office is Accra Visa Office, and they have a list of instruction here. In this content, there is the document checklist for work permit and the caregiver questionnaire as well. So here it is, application for a work permit checklist. Complete and place this checklist on the top of your application. So if you are applying for a spouse or common law partner, minor children, dependent of over 18 as well. You are required to provide 2 passport photographs, original passport, that's your international passport each. You're also required to provide a curriculum, your resume, evidence that you meet the requirements of the job offer, police clearance certificate, proof of employment. And if you are going with a minor child, you need to get a custody letter or notarized permission from their parents. You also need to complete the family information form. So you just have to look through all these checklists. If you are married, you have to provide your marriage certificate. If you have a business, you have to provide proof of business. You need to also show if you have insurance, which is strongly recommended for workers entering Canada. So you just have to look through the document checklist to see what kind of document is required of you. Once you have submitted your application and you paid for your application fees, you would be requested to provide your biometrics, which is your fingerprint details. You would also be required to provide a medical examination result as well. And lastly, you should also remember that the processing time varies from country to country. You can check the processing time for your own country online. Finally, at the end of the day, after your application, if your application is approved, you will be notified by Government of Canada. You will be sent an email with a letter that you would have to show at the port of entry when you are coming into Canada. So that's basically the summary of how to get work permit in Canada. You need to identify what kind of work permit you need. Do you even need the work permit in the first place? What do you need to do? What documents do you need to provide? And how do you go about the application process? That will be it for this video. If you have any questions for me, don't hesitate to leave them in the comment sections. If you have any video suggestion or anything you want me to make a video on, you can go ahead and leave them in the comment section as well. Don't forget to subscribe if you are yet to do so. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you like it, and don't forget to share with your friend as well. I'll see you guys in my next video. Stay confident and stay safe out there, okay? Bye bye.